If your meetings are turning into complaints, chaos, and circles, you're not losing time. You're losing leadership. And most leaders don't realize they've lost control until they've lost the room. Today, we're going to talk about how conversations derail, what causes it, and how to regain control without becoming controlling. Let's get into it. One of the fastest ways to lose credibility is to lose control of the conversation. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that people need to dominate the conversation. I'm saying you need to control the structure of the conversation. And when you step into a meeting and you can't have that, everything turns into chaos. You know the meetings that I'm talking about. You end up introducing the issue. Before you know it, you have somebody introducing a frustration. Then somebody brings up another issue. And then somebody brings history behind the both of them. Before you know it, it turns into a recycling of emotions, and there's nothing productive that comes out of this. So then at the very end, you guys close the meeting and there was absolutely nothing resolved. And everybody leaves thinking, yep, that was better left as an email. And that's not a communication problem. That is a leadership problem. Because conversations, they're easy to get derailed. And unfortunately, leadership will wait way too long to intervene. Most leaders think that, oh, I'll just let them work through it. And that can work sometimes, but those are very specifically structured conversations. A lot of times, it's not going to work. Because unstructured conversations, those derail fast. Frustration will spread. Defensiveness will spread. Blame will spread. And once that happens and once that momentum is moving, it is really hard to get that back. That's exactly why leadership requires interruption. And not to control people, I want to be very clear, not to control people, but to control direction. Direction is leadership. And if you're feeling that you're having these problems with your team, we've created a playbook to help people work through these issues. So if you're interested, send me an email. I've dropped my email below, or drop a comment, put playbook, and I'll make sure it gets to you. If you haven't watched my video already on avoidance, check it out. I think it'll be very helpful in explaining a little bit more of what we just talked about. Avoidance is one of the biggest leadership killers. Avoiding the hard conversation, avoiding accountability, avoiding conflict, avoiding clarity. Every time you avoid, your team is going to fill in that blank. They're going to create their own narratives. They're going to create their own assumptions. They're going to create their own emotional version of the truth. And that's what creates organizational chaos. Because unfortunately, silence isn't neutral. Silence is communication, and it communicates not what you want to have communicated. Structure changes everything in conversation. This is how you fix it. Before you step in a conversation, make sure that you have your own structure, whether that's an agenda, whether that's your own notes. And you need to ask yourself, what is the purpose of the conversation? What outcome do you need from this conversation? What decisions need to be made? What problem are you actually trying to solve? Because with structure, you can actually keep people focused. Because if you don't have structure, people are going to wander. So let me give you an example. Instead of saying, we need to talk about an issue, that leaves everything open-ended. That leaves everything on the table. You need to say instead. Identify the root cause. You need to identify next steps, and you need to identify clear ownership. Those are three specific things that take everything else off the table. And that type of structure is going to change everything. So now you're actually in the conversation and somebody tries to take you off track. The longer you wait to redirect, the harder it's going to be to recover. So when you start to feel this, use phrases like, yes, that matters, but that's outside of our focus today. Or, I hear your frustration, let's bring it back to the topic. What problem are we trying to solve right now? Or if you even need to tell them, let's take that offline. If you ask, are we discussing facts or emotions? That one specifically, that changes a room really fast. That's redirection. That's not disrespect. And that is leadership. And here's the reality. If you do not lead the room is going to lead you. And the loudest emotion will win every time. That does not mean the best idea. That does not mean the best solution. The loudest emotion. Strong leadership is not about having all the answers, but it is about holding the structure to allow the right answers to emerge. That's your job as a leader. And if you're finding that you're having issues with your team, drop a comment below. Say playbook. I'll make sure to get it to you. So, what is your hardest part with any of these conversations? Is it starting the conversation? Is it redirecting them? Is it holding people accountable during them? Drop a comment below. Let us know what you are having issues with. And if leadership communication is something that you need help with, hit subscribe, because in our next video, we're going to actually be talking about the hidden mistake that happens before the conversation ever starts. And it's walking in with the wrong assumption. That's going to change everything.